Live, love, learn with Courtney. Hey, evolutionaries, you're watching Live, Love, Learn with Courtney, where we build community through evolution. And for those of you who don't know, evolutionaries, we assess, we plan, we do. Rebecca Danielle is the owner, the founder of daniellesden.life. Rebecca, can you introduce yourself to the people?
Hey y'all. First of all, Court, thank you so much for having me. This is exciting to be here, especially to be able to support you through this platform and the work that you're doing. So I'm excited to not only connect with you, but connect to everyone who's following you and growing with you. So this is exciting. As Courtney said, my name is Rebecca Danielle. I work as a strategist, specifically under Danielle's Den, to work with visionaries and organizations to be able to help them to go from idea to thought to be able to conception, to bring it to conception.
Yes, and as you are doing that, that takes a lot of work, energy, and detail. So we got to do a mental health check-in, girl. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm on the tail end of a project with someone and also like some family events. So I have a new nephew. So I'm excited about that. And my oldest brother also got engaged in this past week.
Oh, congratulations.
So thank you. Like, it's very dope what's happening in my family life. But as you know, that's another pull. That's another stretch.
Oh, no, girl.
Exactly.
It's so hard when you're very busy because time is intentional.
Yep.
And people don't realize that when they're not as busy as you are.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. And you're like, I can't make it. I'm sorry. And you feel terrible, but it's like there's a purpose that has been calling you. And I love that you have begun to walk in your purpose seriously, like making moves. So can you tell me a little bit more about your purpose with Danielle's Den?
Yeah. So, well, I'll take it back to here. First, when I was younger, I thought I was going to be being a psychologist. And then when I realized I didn't want to do so much of the research and schooling that had to do with psychology, I was like, maybe I'll be a guidance counselor. But I always had a love for people. And as I grew up and went through different jobs and stuff, I realized that I had a love for people in transition. So being able to take all the work from events, I used to work in higher ed, I worked in recruitment for years, and being able to take that work and realize like God's call on my life has always been towards being able to help people bring about purpose in their life. That's when I'm usually my most excited, usually my most clear when it comes to mentally, is when I'm working with visionaries, when I'm working with leaders, when I'm working with a team and they want to endeavor to do something or they want to endeavor to pivot into something, and being able to provide the actionable steps and the research and the insight. So that I would say is my purpose, besides stop hiding when it comes to the speaking and things of that nature. So being able to use the Den not only as the agency platform, but daniellesden.life is the extension of that, of my work and of my heart around being able to bring community around spirituality. So being able to do that through a platform called Live from the Den, which is where I bring different guests like Miss Courtney herself to be able to have a conversation around what we believe, how we're persisting, how we're keeping in our endurance, and collectively to be able to grow. So again, still the same heart around wanting to see people transition, but more allow myself to see myself with God's eyes, to see like, wow, God, like I could do that, however, through all these different spheres.
Yeah. And, for those of you that don't know or want to tune in to Live in the Den, you can definitely follow on Instagram at dustbeccs. That'll be up right here. And in addition to that, you can jump on to www.withCourtney.com and click on the Live in the Den icon, and it'll take you straight to our interview.
Yes.
So, Rebecca, to get back to, this concept of Live in the Den, what was your intent? Because first, let me just say, when I watch your lives, I become alive, right? God has been doing a certain work in me, and you give me that daily motivation and that daily Bible study. Like, you start my day with learning. And I think that is a beautiful trait to have, because they're just natural conversations. It feels like They're just sitting in. I'm talking to my homegirl,
Yeah.
and there's so much that I received from it, and I wonder what your intent was when you started doing Live in the Den.
So at the heart, because I'm gonna be transparent with you, Court. So at the heart of it, so been doing the work. Let me take a background. So been doing the work for the past 10 years, specifically when it comes to helping visionaries and organizations transition and be able to create strategies, which we traditionally call like brand strategies and things of that nature. The reason why I just don't traditionally use those words is because I feel like everybody's project is different. So like what might be strategy for somebody else, for someone else is really just support. You know what I mean? So in being able to just bring all that work that I have been doing, it was like, you know what, God, all right, it's time for me to have my own umbrella. But one aspect of me that I could not acknowledge, you know what I mean? I couldn't just completely market myself as this strategist, because a lot of the work that I do has to do with more the spirituality. You know what I mean? A lot of the work that I do has to do with more with that visionary believing that they're a CEO, that visionary believing that they're called to that thing. You know what I mean? Because my work doesn't work until that visionary gets their full download from God. You know what I mean? So sometimes what stops people in their work is the fact that they don't believe. You know what I mean? So that being such a huge portion of the work forced me to acknowledge the fact that, like, at the heart of it, I like teaching. I like Bible teaching especially. So being able to bring literally my friends who this is what we do and this is how we do life. After years of being in church, I just realized that there's nothing that can replace group revelation. You know what I mean? Us being able to talk to each other, to hear from each other, to hear what God is saying to each other. So the heart of it came from not only me wanting to be more outspoken with the different aspects of who I was outside of the work, outside of what people saw, but also me wanting to create a space and a place for especially millennial believers who were the ones who are looking at churches like, nah, I'm good. We're the ones looking at a lot of pastors like, I tried that method, doesn't work. You know what I mean? We're the ones who are challenging prosperity gospel. We're the ones challenging, well, I have this knowledge or understanding of my ancestors. I have an understanding of my Blackness. Where does that fit in your white Christianity? So I wanted to be able to provide a space where we could start our day in the middle of what still is the pandemic, especially at the rise of when racial tensions really started to hit the ground. That's when I really started doing the Live from the Den devotionals, because it was like, how are we staying strong? Who's focused on us? Who's caring about our endurance from the inside out? So that was my gift from God, and now here we are.
So, one thing that I have to say first is I love how humble you are, or maybe you just don't realize the impact you make on the people that are currently watching. I think that's what it is, because you genuinely create a motivation in people. One is at the beginning of the day. So you are, as soon as you get up, rise and shine, let's get to it. And it transcends into motivation. It transcends into a deeper connection with God. It transcends into a consistent connection with God.
Yeah, that part.
That consistency is often what many of us are lacking, because it's like, oh, I'm going to talk to him when I feel like it. And then it's like when he's like, all right, you're not this priority right now, you get mad. But it's like, you haven't even been nurturing the relationship. So why would you abuse him and expect him to tolerate your abuse?
Come on.
And you have really just taken the time to help us, right? To really stay consistent. And I appreciate you so much for that. I even say on Mondays, I feel like, tag Rebecca ain't on today. Oh my gosh, what I'm gonna do?
like just like you, where like this platform came from your heart. You know what I mean? The fact that you saw this need in the community, like here's the resources, and you're connected to the resources, and you're looking at the community, and the community is asking you for these resources, and it's just like, wait, let me just be this bridge. You know what I mean? It's the same way for me, having been the non-traditional student at seminary. You know what I mean? Having gone to seminary at a time in my life where I was looking at God like, this ain't the plan.
Yeah.
This is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
And I deserve better, because I've been working forever. And a lot of the concepts and foundations that I felt strong to, that I was taught by church, it was in seminary that I felt like this is not the God that I've been taught. You know what I mean? And I think that out of my lack of understanding, out of my lack of community, out of my lack of feeling like I had people run with me, or feeling like I had a spiritual space to be my ugliest self. You know what I mean? Because that's the other thing about it. In the morning is when we're our rawest, purest selves. And you see it, like, I mean, you faithful to the dead. So you see it, like, there's some mornings I don't even really have time to draw an eyebrow, but I have this commitment to God. You know what I mean? And I think it's being able to model that. You know what I mean? Like, just really being able to be about it. Like, be about it.
Yeah, and I love that. That's just this whole idea. Like, I don't know what it was, but so many of us kind of clicked at the same time and said, it's time to grow.
Yeah.
Like, listen, it is time to grow. Let's get to it. So how can the people contact you, whether they want to work with you as a brand strategist or they want to just come in and watch one of your shows on Live in the Den?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first and foremost, you go to withCourtney.com. You click right on the Live from the Den icon, right on her homepage. That's the first way you can get introduced to me. But beyond that, Fairy Dust Beccs, literally Fairy Dust Beccs, BECCS. That's my Twitter handle, my Instagram handle. I'm very active on those two platforms. Although you can find me on Facebook, I promise I'm probably doing something on Instagram or Twitter. And then the website is daniellesden.life. Again, daniellesden.life. That's where you can find information about me. Contact me there if you want to read maybe what other people I've worked with have had to say. You can read that as well over there. Because again, like, it for me, the work is it's strategy. I like to say strategy because that's what it is, but it's me being able to partner with God to help you become the you that you are.
Amen. And she is helping me, guys. I am a living testament. So please go over, please contact her. Whatever you need, she is here to support you. Rebecca, do you want to leave the people with anything else before we close out?
I think it's being able to be not only the consistent that you said, Court, but something that, especially that I learned and gleaned from you with this platform, is that we have to be willing to make the move. You know what I mean? We have to be willing to dedicate to the things that we're saying we want to see change. You know what I mean? Like, if someone's just like, I'm tired of seeing education the way it is, boom, this is how we got with Courtney. You know what I mean? I'm tired of seeing people believe the way they believe, boom, that's how Live from the Den got started. You know what I mean? There's something in your heart, there's a problem that you see. Don't be afraid to move to make that change. Maybe you are the change.
That's right. Right. And in the words of John Lewis, rest in peace, let's get into some good trouble, girl.
Come on. That's good.
All right. Thank you guys for watching Live, Love, Learn with Courtney. Today, Rebecca Danielle with Danielle's Den was on this platform with us, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Have a good one. Bye.
This is the unique time.
That's right. With Courtney. Let's grow together.